Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. I'm Julie Lefebvre, your host. Life is remarkable, sometimes raw and always real. And some days we could use a little extra encouragement for our real lives. Here you'll find that, along with personal life-impacting stories, helpful life hacks, timely inspiration, biblical insight, and a fresh perspective. The Encouragement for Real Life podcast equips you to be a light in this world and to shine bright wherever God has you. I'm glad you're here today. This week marks 5 years since I released the very first episode of the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. 5 years. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but it's true. Thank you for inviting me into your home, your car, your walks, your kitchen, your daily moments. It has truly been one of the greatest privileges of my life, and I am so grateful for you. So thank you for making 5 years a possibility. As I was thinking about this milestone this week, I had a whole lot of emotions and a whole lot of feelings about it. And, I'm just coming off of a month of really looking at my life and unrushing is what I'm calling it. I'm unrushing my life. I did that last month. And so I completely expect that the next 5 years will probably pass just as quickly as the last 5. And that kind of freaks me out a little bit. How this happens, though, I'm not sure. But as we had talked about in last month's episode, we talked about, how time is going so fast. But I don't think I'm the only one who has had this thought that I don't want to get to the end of my life and realize that I missed it all. I don't want to get to the next 5 years at the end of that, 5 years from now, and realize I missed it all. I don't want to get to the end of this season to realize that I missed it all. And I don't even want to get to the end of this day and realize I missed it all. Friend, is this you too? Do you ever feel like you're living at a pace where you are missing the life you're living? Or do you ever feel like you're at the pace where you just can't find your purpose in life? This life, the abundant life that Jesus came to give us, is ours. And it's time that we address this and we do something about it. So, if you're ready for some timely encouragement, let's get into this episode. Last month, I shared a specific Instagram reel about a conversation that a friend of mine and I had. And my friend was talking about how she is just tired of the pace of life. She is weary of the pace of life. And I said, yeah, me too, girl. Me too. Same here. And it was kind of an eye-opening reel for me. It was kind of an eye-opening moment for me because I shared that I was so sick of rushing through life. I'm so tired of rushing through life. And so like last month, like I said, I just took an open view of my life to really glance at it and say, why am I rushing? My natural pace is to rush. And so that was the premise of this reel, is that really I just thought, everybody's rushing. This life is fast. This world is fast. And after I made this reel, I looked at it and I thought, honestly, I'm just going to be quite open with you here. I looked at it and I thought my shirt was kind of bunched up here. The lighting wasn't very good, so I felt like I had extra lines on my face. My glasses kind of slipped down, so they didn't look right, like they were almost covering the top part of my eye. And I almost deleted that. I almost just hit delete and start over. But I thought, no, I have said on Instagram before that, or in Facebook before that, I'm just going to be real. And so I thought, no, I'm going to keep it. I thought it was not a very good reel, but it resonated. And it resonated more than most recent reels I had done. Women who I did not know began saying that they were tired of rushing through life as well. They were sick of it as well. And there were a lot of comments about that. But there was one comment that caught my attention. It was from a woman who recently retired. And she said that her struggle isn't in the rush of life anymore. It's in trying to find meaning in her slower days. She said her days were so much slower, and she didn't like it. She didn't like the pace of her life. The title of the reel was, "Don't Like the Pace of Your Life?" ? I was thinking of it from the rushing standpoint, not thinking about a different pace in life, of how that can also cause us to miss the life that we're living. Because I know full well, like I said, rushing is my tendency. I also need to change that wording, because I am speaking into existence exactly what I want to change. I'm speaking into existence what I don't want to keep. I want to change it so I'm not having that rushing mentality. So I know I need to change that. That just dawned on me. So my life, I look at my life, I'm like, it's a rushed life sometimes. Most often it is. I don't see it from that other woman's perspective because I'm not there yet. But that's when I realized that this isn't a conversation about life moving too fast. It's more of a conversation about the pace of our lives and how this dramatically affects the life that you and I have been given by God to live. Our pace matters. And it got me thinking about a whole lot of other paces. Maybe it's not, yes, sure, there's the fast pace, but there's more. So I started to list them because I'm like, this is really eye-opening to me. So yes, the pace of hurry, where we're always moving to the next thing and we're doing it quickly. The pace of striving, is constantly trying to prove ourselves, right? The pace of waiting. That's a whole different pace. Feeling like life will begin when something changes. Like when the kids grow up, when the kids move out, when the grandkids come, when I'm retired, when blah, 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 blah. What about the pace of distraction? And if you know me, you know I talk about distraction a lot. It's being always pulled somewhere else mentally or even physically. The pace of obligation, living from I have to instead of I get to. The pace of comparison is another one, measuring your life and my life against everyone else's life. Or what about the pace of fear? That's a big one. When we're hesitant to fully step into what God has for you and for me. Or we are scared to do something uncomfortable, do something that's uncomfortable. Or the pace of control. I know this one really well. We try to manage every detail instead of just trusting God. I have a good story about that. I'm going to share that one of these days. But and also the pace of exhaustion. Just getting through the day, but not really experiencing any of it. You just want to get to the end of the day, whether it's the end of the workday, the end of the whole day where you can just go back to bed, the end of, whatever it might be in that day, a meeting during the day, but we don't really experience it. We just want to get to the end of it. Also the pace of survival. Just making it to bedtime, like I said, that can also be, like the previous one of just of exhaustion. You're just exhausted. But this one is survival. You're just surviving. You're not thriving. Or the pace of restlessness. Always feeling like you should be somewhere else, or doing something different than you are right now. That's a big one. Or the pace of contentment, which is a healthy pace where you're able to just receive the day that God has given you. I'd like more of those days and that pace. And the pace of peace, which is awesome. Which doesn't come really from a life of ease, but it comes from a heart that is just centered in Jesus. And so there's a whole lot of different paces. I was just thinking the pace of fast and slow, like or like slow and fast, I want to say, like the tortoise and the hare, those different paces. But there's a whole lot more paces if we really get looking at it. We could make a list of paces, but we're not going to do that today. But we have different paces in our lives. I mean, and it probably depends on each individual situation. And also, every season that we walk through has a rhythm, has a pace. And I couldn't help but think of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and so I started reading that. And I was reading it in the Voice translation. And in verse 1, it says, "For everything that happens in life, there is a season, a right time for everything under heaven." And then it goes on in the rest of the chapter to say, there's a time to plant and a time to harvest and a time to cry and a time to laugh and all of those variable things of different times and different season. And so it showed me that all of these seasons that were listed, and you can check that out. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can check that chapter out. But as it's shared, it's been a credit to Solomon. King Solomon wrote this, but some say he didn't write it. So anyway, I'm going to say Solomon wrote it. But in Solomon's words, it helped me to see that these seasons have their own pace. And it made me think about my life too. The paces I've had through my own life of like raising young children. The pace of building a career. The pace of caregiving for my ailing mother. The pace of an empty nest. And maybe at some point, I'll experience the pace of retirement. I've experienced also the pace of grief, the pace of healing, and even the pace of starting over. And I'm guessing you have experienced many of these paces or these seasons of life too. And you've experienced that each season has a different pace. And no matter what pace it is, the thing is, in these seasons, if I know you, if you're anything like me, we do not want to miss the life that God has for us. We don't want to miss one single thing God has for us. But when our pace gets out of hand, it gets too fast, too slow, too whatever, we can start to just be distracted from the life that we're living, and we can start to miss it all. And that was really the reason why I wrote my book, Right Now Matters. And I'm going to talk more about that next week because we're going to look at a little bit deeper next week. But God never intended these seasons to all look the same. I firmly believe that. Otherwise, I don't think he would have guided Solomon to write Ecclesiastes 3. Now, none of these seasons are wrong. None of the paces are wrong. But Ecclesiastes reminds us that life isn't something to race through or to fight against. It's something to just openly receive every single season, to openly accept from the Lord, whatever that season may look like. And as I kept on reading in chapter 3, I was struck by verse 12. And I've read this, numerous times. But verse 12 really hit me this time. Maybe it was just in this translation, but it said, "I know there is nothing better for us than to be joyful and to do good throughout our lives." And I kept reading, but verse 12, it just kind of stopped me in my tracks. God doesn't just want us to get through our days. He invites us to find joy in everyday life, the joy that the life that He's given us, and the joy that He's given us. And I wonder how often the pace of our lives keep us from doing just that, and keep us from living fully the way God desires for us to live, embracing all that He has for us so we don't miss the life that we're living. Are we rushing so fast that we're missing it altogether? You know, our days blur into each other, the seasons blur into each other, and is that because we're rushing? Or has life or our schedule maybe changed to the point that we're not as active as we used to be? And we don't like the pace of our life because of that? Maybe it's uncomfortable. Maybe we've lost our purpose in life. Or maybe we just have no idea what pace we're living at because we've never paused to notice it before. And I get that too. We just do what we do. We do what we got to do, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And until we're prompted to pay attention to it, we don't. We just keep going, right? But I want to ask you today, have you ever stopped to notice the pace of your life? Have you ever? I think that reel, that little video that I put out last month helped women to stop and notice. Because I firmly believe the pace of our lives directly, that pace affects how we're living, the lives that we've been given to live. And our lives are a gift, right? You and I don't want to wake up one day and wonder where it all went. I mean, I already feel like that some days where I wake up and think, we talked about this in last month's episode. I don't remember which number that was, but I'll link it in the show notes. But, you know, we wake up and we wonder, how did we get here? How did time go so fast? We don't want to wake up that way 5, 10, 15 years down the road and like, wait a minute, what did I do with this time? But today is a new day, and we can wake up today and take notice. Today isn't gone. It's here, right? It's here. This season isn't over. And God is here with us in this ordinary Tuesday, this full schedule, this time of retirement, this season of waiting, this season of grief, this season of change, this whatever part of life you are in, whatever you're experiencing, God is here. It's not too late. Today, we can wake up right here, right now, and say, you know what? I'm going to take a hard look at my life, and I'm going to pay attention to really the pace of my life and how I'm living it. And that's what I invite you to do this week. I invite you to notice. That's it. There's nothing else to do. I mean, I know you have lots of things to do, but just to take notice of your life. Because if we don't pause to notice, we'll never make a change. We will get to the end of our lives someday and realize, wait a minute, I missed it. We don't want that. The pace of our lives directly affects how we live our lives. It directly affects everything in our lives. So notice this week. Notice some things like where God might be inviting you to pay attention. What is God showing you? Just notice. Jot it down in a notebook or a piece of paper or a little scratch note, little sticky note, whatever. So ask that question. What is God inviting? Notice not ask the question, but notice what God is inviting you to pay attention to. Or notice the pace of your days and how you are moving from one thing to the next. Is it frantic? Is it peaceful? Is it stressed? What is it? Is it, just with ease. I don't know. There could be lots of different things. Also notice when you feel alive, when you just feel like this is the best. Also notice when you feel like you're just getting through, you're just trudging through the mud and you just want to get through. Notice when you question your purpose, or notice what God may be teaching you. Just pay attention this week. That's it. Just pay attention. And like I started to say, write it down somewhere. Write down what you notice. Maybe it's in a cute little journal like this. Maybe it's just in like I said, a scratch piece of paper, whatever. Jot it down, because we're going to use that next week. We're going to use that next week. Because over the next weeks, the next few weeks, we are going to we're going to keep talking about this. It's not just a one episode type of thing where we just like, you know what, we're going to notice it and it's going to be fixed automatically. No. Because once we notice the pace of our lives, we can then begin asking what pulls us away from the life that God has given us. And we can also look at not only that, but also how Jesus invites us to live at a very different pace. Now, I'm not saying that's a slower pace. I'm just saying it's a different kind of pace. This isn't to make any of us feel bad, not you, not me, not anyone else. We are just going to notice. That's it. Because we're going to take it one step further next week. The goal isn't to make every day slower, because we know sometimes that isn't a possibility. But it's to make sure that we truly are living the days that we've been given in a wonderful pace, in a blessed way that God has designed for us to live. I can't wait to see what God shows us this week. I can't wait. And so maybe you're listening right now and you have been just thinking that I don't want to miss the life I've been living. I don't want to miss the life that I've been given. I don't want to keep rushing through my days. And I don't know how to find my purpose. I want to know what my purpose is in life, but I'm not quite sure how to do any of this. If this is you, I want you to know you're in good company, because many of the women that I work with feel the same. And this is one of the reasons that I created Abundant Life Mentoring. I understand that sometimes we don't need more information, or we don't need one more fix me type of program. We sometimes just need someone to walk alongside us, to ask important questions, to point us back to Jesus, and to encourage us as we learn to live the abundant life that He came to give us. And if you've been wishing that there was a place where you could continue these kinds of conversations with other women who maybe are just longing for the same type of thing, well, I'm excited to tell you that enrollment for my brand new Abundant Life Together mentoring group is now open. Beginning in September, we gather each month to encourage one another to grow in our faith. You're going to get some extra things from me that I'll share more of later, but and you'll learn what it looks like to live the abundant life that Jesus has for you. Not someday down the road, but right in the middle of your everyday life. So enrollment begins now, and it will end at the end of August. So if this sounds like something your heart has been longing for, I just invite you to learn more. You can find all the details at the links in the show notes, whether it's through one-on-one Abundant Life Mentoring or the group Abundant Life Together. It would be just a wonderful honor to walk alongside you. And next week, as I just mentioned a minute ago, we're going to take this conversation one step further. Because once we begin noticing the pace of our lives, the next question is, what is pulling us away from fully living our lives? And so I'm thinking some of the answers might surprise you. Because as I was working through this, my answers surprised me. But I look forward to exploring them together. In closing, friend, I just want to remind you, don't miss the life you're living. Not one more day, not one more hour. God is here. He's here with us right now, in this season, in our lives, in this moment. He's in these ordinary days. And I don't want either one of us to rush past what He has for us in them and in us. I am so excited about what God might be doing through us in this season. And I know you and I do not want to miss one single thing that He has for you and for me. So friend, stay encouraged, stay equipped, keep your eyes lifted to Jesus. Come back here next week and we'll take it one step further. Thanks for being here. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You can find more at julielefebure.com. And until next time, stay encouraged.